Hello, Fair. Good morning. Welcome, Nini. Today is the first Sunday of the month, and I welcome you to our service, but also to join us in our communion service, which is Huit Karest, our Eucharist. And we'll have a really wonderful message today. Another one about Het Heru because this is Het Heru season. And by the way, I am Reverend Queen Mother Imaku. It's my pleasure to be with you here again. And so please share, spread the word that we are on the air. Figured I would try something new and just condense things into the two main channels to be able to catch me. And so that is through the YouTube channel and then also through the Queen Mother Imaku Facebook page. So please share, and we welcome you to another positive day, another day of love. Oh, Abut, Anecharech, thank you so much for being here. I know you're driving. Thank you so much. Tanya 23, thank you. Thank you. Give thanks and praise. I'll be sharing some tips with you also about decorating for the season and about why it's okay to have a holiday tree. A lot of times people in conscious circles will get on the whole thing about the validity of Christmas and whether we should be putting up decorations. And, this is where you should really know your history and know the source. Because once you are aware, then you can really fully honor the traditions, but from a place of being well informed and knowing the origins, and from another place of exuberance in knowing what you are celebrating and why. And so let's get started. Unawit Neben Petem Ta. All pathways of heaven and earth are open to you. During the season of love and light, as we're aware of the fact that there is so much turmoil and pain in the world, let us focus on sending love and light and also concerted efforts to make change in the world. For some people, the best thing that they can do is pray, but for others, we have a chance to make a change by actively doing something. That I am a shining being who lives in light, manifested from the limbs of the Creator. Nuk Poo, Nuk Koo, Amiku, Keimam, Keperu Imnichorao. Last night, I came across a wonderful free concert that was provided by the city. And every time I think I'm going to leave Newark, I end up falling in love with Newark all over again. We have great community here. We have so many wonderful things here, especially now that people are paying attention to family and the fact that we have a lot of revival in the city. But we also have a lot of folks who've been here for a long time. And so the nice thing is that both energies, both sets of people are honored. So give thanks and praise. I soar like the falcon, victorious Yeru. All of the pathways of heaven and earth are open to me. All of the pathways of heaven and earth are open to me. All of the pathways of heaven and earth are open to me. All of the pathways of heaven and earth are open to me. All of the pathways of heaven and earth are open to me. You sing. All of the pathways of heaven and earth are open to me. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. And I want to be able to correctly honor the sister Serket Amun-Ra. I see you're up here as Tanya 23, and I gave you a shout out earlier, but then I saw that you're in the family, so it's important to give people the correct. The Ren, or the name, is everything in the Kemetic community. It tells who you are. It reminds you of your mission here, but also it tells everybody else who you are and what your divine mission on this planet is. And in our tradition, when you misspell someone's name, incorrectly pronounce it, especially if you're doing it from a spiteful place, when you disregard someone's name, oh, well, I'm just going to call you so-and-so, that's considered an insult. Actually, it should be considered an insult in any tradition, but especially in our tradition, because your name is sacred, protected by Renenet, who we've been talking about, or Renenutet. Martez Miller, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And please hit that like button, and also share. Please share to all those who you think that would really benefit from this this time, this precious time that we have together on this Sunday morning. And so, Shawanda Sheree, thank you again for being here. I love your candle. It's so appropriate. It's special, especially because we'll be talking about divine light again through Het Heru. And Duau Abut, let me give you all of your energy. Abut Taort Rekit Ast. And she is our divine elder. And I'm hoping that you're having a great day. And I'm imagining that you're taking your mother to her church service. And so I pray that everything is well with your mom and with you as well. And thank you always, always for your love and support. And Lydia Elizabeth, Ashe, Asheo. And so, I know that we are, those of us who are in African-centered culture and who are honoring so many different paths. Okay, for instance, I am first and foremost a Kemetic Queen Mother and Elder High Priestess and teacher and scholar, and but I'm also, well, kind of say equally balanced with Orisha culture and also Loa culture. And I am a Nanga in the Shona and Ndebele Bantu tradition. So, yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot, okay? And I came out of Christianity, and I see where all of them intersect. I do. And again, understanding of the origins of all is what's really important, so that you're not afraid. And so because of that, we've got a lot going on, a lot of different seasonal things happening in Orisha culture. Yamajaz being honored right now. We've got a lot of talk about the energies of the year for Orisha culture, for Loa culture. And yes, I will be doing our oracle for 2024. And so it's important to honor all of this. However, the thing about standing in your truth, it takes a lot of courage, especially if you're up against mainstream culture and those who would want to look down upon what you believe. Now, I would like to, at this time, honor the life of Bishop Carlton Pearson, who came out of the Christian Gospel Church, was highly respected, very popular, greatly loved, but then came to a new level of consciousness, truly, in where he realized, he thought one day when he was watching some children in Africa who were starving, and he said, wait, they're already in hell. How can there be a hell? A loving God would send people who are already suffering to hell. And why? Just because the fact that they have different beliefs. So that began his journey of teaching about what he called the gospel of inclusion. And so it was a huge step, because this went against the teachings, the beliefs, the practices of those in mainstream Christian religions. Well, many in mainstream, I don't want to say everybody, but many who are in mainstream Christian religions, and who held fast to those, or hold fast to those doctrines. He lost his entire church. He had one of those huge mega churches. People just left. He started talking about what he really understood the truth of God and God's love was. And he felt that the teachings were wrong. And he started learning about the truth of what the Bible was, how it came to be, and how it was changed, pulled from this, that, and the other, massaged around, and all of that. He really delved in at the place where many of us who are in this way of life tend to do, in order for us to come to where we stand, and not looking down upon anybody else because of what they believe, but coming to a higher level of understanding, of compassion and tolerance, because of the fact that everybody has the right to believe what they want to and need to believe. Okay. It's not about what we used to call in the Christian church Jesus jamming, where you would just be jamming Jesus down people's throats because you believe that was the right thing. But a lot of it came from a place of selfishness too, because we were taught that you were accountable for whoever you encountered, that you did not save and bring to the kingdom and save them from hellfire. Well, that's a lot of imposition. It's a whole lot of imposition, and a lot of arrogance, truthfully. And also, people are doing it because they're afraid of going to hell. So it's not really like they're trying to pull people in because they love them so much, and they're just trying to just sway them to go this way. No, a lot of it is from a place of complete selfishness. Well, I'm trying to save myself, so let me just throw myself into this religion and shove it down as many people's throats as possible, so that way I'm not held accountable for their going to hell. Now, we do believe in accountability in our tradition, but it is accountability in terms of understanding that when you are facing wrong, that you must do something to right it if you are able to. When you see wrong, you should speak out about it. If you are not in a position of being able to speak out freely about it, you should find some way to bring about change. But there is something courageous about speaking out on truth. The book of Ptahhotep talks about speaking out when something is wrong and when things don't align. And so this is what Bishop Carlton Pearson did. He was not trying to force anybody to see things his way, but he felt he had to be honest as a minister that he had changed his position. And he started teaching from that place. And okay, whoever wants to come along, you can come along. I understand. I used to be in his shoes. Okay. And so when you step away from the family belief system, from the belief system of those who you've considered your friends and colleagues who have helped you to grow in it, and who you've helped to grow in it, where you've nurtured each other, and where you are really dedicated to putting this word out there and living according to this standard and these beliefs, the beliefs. And you decide, this does not work for me anymore, and I have to live truth, what we call Ankh and Ma'at, living your life in truth. Then you have to make a bold step in being consistent in who you are. Ma'at shes ma'at, consistency in living truth, living orderly, living harmonious balance. Some of us are living duplicitous lives. And yes, it's understood that sometimes you have to kind of be discreet about things because of the world that we live in. Sometimes because of the fact that you're surrounded by people who just aren't going to understand where you come from. So you have to be discreet. There's a difference between discretion and cowardice. Yeah. And I can tell you that Bishop Carlton Pearson was not a coward. He recently transitioned. Blessings upon his life, his memory, and his legacy. He was a phenomenal minister and singer. I knew him from his Azusa concerts that brought in all of the gospel superstars, and where they had a huge conference of gospel music, and it was just singing. You can find them on YouTube. But he was a phenomenal singer, and so greatly gifted. That's how I first knew him. So when I found that he came to a new way of thinking, and some of you may be familiar with the movie that was on Netflix called Come Monday. I believe it's called Come Monday. That was about his story and what he went through and the shunning that he experienced, and even to death, even into, listen, after this man died, people dragged him. They really did. I mean, only because of the fact that he changed his beliefs. And many of them, it was surprising to see how many people were hoping he was roasting in hell. Loving people. Talking from loving Christian principles, right? There were 2 funerals for him, because the ones who supported him and his open-mindedness, and also the fact that he opened himself up to embracing new community, those who he had been taught to shun as a Christian, he opened his arms to. And so, and he became a member of the Unitarian Church. We know them as UUs, okay? I've done a lot of programs at Unitarian churches, Unitarian Universalist churches, where I was a speaker or I performed, and this has been over the years. So the UUs, they're like, we welcome everybody, okay? So he became a member of the UU Church. And so there was basically a UU funeral service for him, which was like, Paul and all y'all can come, okay? Then there was another service for those who had shunned him, who wanted to remember him in the way that they knew him before, and where they felt safe from the others in society that they had shunned. Listen, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but let me just say this. People can believe what they want to believe. But if you're talking about honoring a God of love, creative force, higher power, we have several names for God in our tradition. Nebetshur, Netshur, so many. Jah, Ujeit. And in the Haitian tradition, he is Bonje. There's so many names. Oludumare in Orisha tradition. But if you are so terrified of being with those who you consider to be the great unwashed because they don't believe what you believe, and this is not just in Christian tradition either, all right? This is in so-called consciousness tradition too. Then you really need to check yourself. See if you are living in a sanctimonious place, if you are riddled with prejudices based on ideologies that have been forced down your throat or that you've allowed yourself to swallow. Because listen, here's the thing, we're grown, right? We're grown. So at this point, you can believe what you want. Here's the difference. Critical thinking, which we are often discouraged from engaging in once we begin following certain religions. This is the problem, okay? And even for people who are just saying, well, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, it's the same thing. We have so much narcissism that exists within spiritual communities, so many narcissistic leaders, and we have so many blind followers who become the flying monkeys of these narcissistic leaders and who are not thinking for themselves. They're just following the orders of the leader. And the ideology, the thinking, the practices, is it really true for you? If it is, okay, hey, like I said, we're all entitled to believe what we want to believe. But if there's something within you that says, I don't know, or, well, I don't really feel that way, but I don't want to lose my contacts, because some people join mega churches just for contacts. I knew a brother who was Kemetic and also was looking into Orisha culture, but decided because he needed to have more sales, because he was a salesman, that he should join a mega church just to get more customers. We are in Het Heru season. Het Heru represents love, higher love, higher love. I remember, and I want to say this also because yesterday was World AIDS Day. Back when I was a born-again Christian, that some of my dear friends who I went to school with, who I grew up with, came out of the closet. And those of us who had become saved were discouraged from dealing with them as we got into our late teens, young adult years, because there's a bunch of us that got saved. Like I got saved at 14 because we had a woman in the neighborhood who felt it was her obligation to come and save us from the devil because of the fact that we were now in our teen years. And so she scared a lot of us into getting saved because we didn't want to go to hell. So so these friends who eventually came out of the closet were part of that original group. We all went to this youth organization that met on Sunday evenings in the basement of a church here in New Jersey. And there we met a lot of teens and young adults who were also seeking the face of the Lord and who'd also gotten saved. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. So as my friends came to a new level of awareness of themselves and began to live a lifestyle that was consistent with who they felt that they were, based on coming out of the closet, we were told to shun them, which didn't feel right to me. And then I remember when one of my dear friends passed away, and then another, and then another. I said, this is wrong. These were my friends. And with one of my friends, his family didn't even give him a funeral. And they wouldn't go and claim his body at first. He died in the hospital, and his body laid in the morgue at the hospital for a bit. And I got the message to the family, look, if y'all are going to go claim him, I'll go claim him. Okay, so they went and they claimed him. And then I'm waiting to find out, well, when is his funeral going to be? His family didn't give him a funeral. I was like, we're not going to do nothing for him? These were back in the 80s. And this is when AIDS was a huge crisis. And that's when there was oh gosh, the way people were treated. It was really horrible. But it was the wake-up call to me, especially after the first friend passed away. And then with the second one, when he passed, and this is the one whose family did give him a funeral. And I had just actually spoken to him some months before. He didn't disclose to me that he had AIDS, you know, uh, but we had reconnected. And then I reconnected with another friend, and we would spend a lot of time on the phone. And as he got sicker and sicker, it was harder for him to talk, but he just wanted to hear me talk. And he actually encouraged me because he was in the arts as well. And both of us were going to throw ourselves into having a career as professional artists. Although, I already had my first gig when I was 15, and this had been my life, but we were really going to go full throttle. And I remember we were both going to see Alvin Ailey together. My aunt Bernadette had bought tickets for my cousins and for me and my sister didn't want to go. So my aunt said, well, pick a friend who you think would want to go with you. And so I called him up, and he said, yeah, he wanted to go. So we had the best time. Here we are as teenagers, free in New York, over at Lincoln Center. And when we came out of the tremendous, the riveting experience that we had watching Alvin Ailey, the Alvin Ailey Company, and both of us just sitting there like this, just like holding each other and crying, because this is what we wanted in our life, and the stories being told in the dance was so riveting. And then when the four of us walked out of the theater, my two cousins and my friend Lonzo and me, it was snowing. It was like a movie moment, and we're just running around the fountain and everything, waiting for the adults in our lives to come pick us up. Wow, what a day. What a day. So when he was dying, he reminded me of that. And I had actually stopped performing for a little bit due to some family stuff. And he said, what are you doing? You know why you're here. And he said, I'm not going to be here. One of us has to make it. Living your truth, knowing who you are. Again, back to the Ren, understanding your purpose and letting it shine for all to know why you're here, and making sure that you're doing what you're here for. Blessings upon the memory of my friend Lonzo and all my other friends who I lost during the AIDS crisis, because there were so many. And blessings upon the life of Bishop Carlton Pearson, who taught everybody the importance of standing on your truth in spite of losing it all. I mean, he started a new church and had a new following, from what I understand. He started a new circle, okay, and was able to get support from that new circle. So, as someone who practices the Kemetic faith and who does not agree with a lot that goes on in so-called Kemetic circles, I understand and had made the decision to pull away from it as well. I mean, I have not been above just leaving places if they're wrong throughout my life. And when I was 24, I left the Christian church and went on a journey to find, well, why was it that Jesus went to Egypt? We're told that he was evil. I mean, that he was evil. We were told that Egypt was evil. And I had a Christian friend who gave me he lent me his lost books of the Bible. And this is when I was working with Billy Scott on his first gospel album, Victory in the Spirit. And I sang backup. I did music arrangements. I played sax, flute, and percussion on it. And I was 18, 19 years old at the time. uh, but he was a very masterful singer and pianist, and taught me a lot about recording, about performing, but also taught me a lot about opening your mind to what's really out here. And he was devout. He was a devout Christian, but he's the one who first introduced me to the lost books of the Bible. And it blew my mind because a lot of it countered what I'd been taught, even though I'd already started doing a lot of deep research at that time. This caused me to delve deeper. And so, in finding out, Jesus went to Egypt before he started his mission. Why was Egypt evil? So, it all began from there. Here I am, about to turn 64, and things continue to unfold. I've been in a number of paths, and have been so blessed by each of the places that I have been on my journey. The important thing is to remember that this is a journey. And if you are blessed to find other people who are on the journey with you and who are willing to support, to elevate, to share, you know, as it says in the book of Ankh Shoshanki, may I know my brothers and sisters so I may share my goods with them. You know, that you've really got something if you find out who your real friends are. And I believe that, you know, people who loved him actually now are talking about how Carlton Pearson did not realize who his real friends were until he stood on his truth. And until people started just insulting him, making him the subjects of their own Sunday sermons, and I mean, they just dragged him. They really did. So it's good to know who's really in your corner and who's not. And the faith that you rest on, that you rely upon, will help you in being able to achieve that. Now, we're talking today about the tree of life. The word for the sacred tree is Nakhet. Nakhet is a variation of the word Nechet, which is also a word which means faith. And the two do go hand in hand. May you find blessings, and that was not even the sermon. That was just a message I felt very strongly impressed to share, because I've been watching the celebrations of Bishop Carlton Pearson's life. I've been watching the hypocrisy. I've been watching the ridicule. Who are you really? Who are you really? Who are we all? Reki em ebi. I know myself. And, you know, when you have a wide variety of people that you can call your friend, that's actually a good thing, because it shows you've got an expansion of your mind, and that you have a commonality in dealing with all of them. And that commonality is based on what? Generally, it's based on love. Hopefully, it's not from a narcissistic point of view where you're looking at people and sizing them up and seeing what they can do for you, like the brother who decided to join the church so he could widen his client base. Let us focus on love. Give thanks. All right. And you know what? Before we start prayer, let me just share a couple tidbits with you. And I want to acknowledge, who is the sister who came here from Brother Deshaun? Let me see. Let me scroll up. Pleasure of listening to. Oh, give thanks. Okay. Thank you so much. That was a really wonderful and enjoyable interview that I did on the Color Only Cafe. And I'm very grateful that Brother Deshaun Farad invited me to come and be interviewed, and that also he afterwards reminded people about an event that I had 2 weeks ago now, called Blacknificently Latinx. And so it's good to connect. It's very good to connect. Oh, by the way, oh yes, and Maat Ray, you said, wow, you said what, Bonje? Well, I'm a Mambo too. I was initiated in Haitian Vodun. So yeah, so in my daily prayers, I call upon Nibitsur and Bonje. Bonje means the good God. In Kemetic tradition, the good God would be Netshur Nefer, or Ja Nefer, or Kebir or Kebre Nefer. Nefer means good, beautiful, successful. So, but yeah, I'm not as proficient in Haitian Creole as I am in Kemetic language. Spanish, I get by my, but in terms of the religious base, my strongest is the Kemetic religion, Kemetic language, and of course some Orisha tradition. So, but thank you. Oh, who's that offering me tight hugs? I can't see your name. It says Facebook user. Wow. Wow. Oh, thank you. Okay, yes. Lydia Elizabeth, yes, living and standing in one's truth is ultimately necessary. Yes, indeed. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Some quick things before we start prayer. This is Het Heru season. And I realized I need a new Het Heru tree. We're talking about the Het Heru tree today. And that's because I threw the other one I had out. Why? Because I needed to start over. Well, I'm starting over in life. And at the time, last year when I moved, yeah. Last year when I moved, I threw out my old tree because I just needed to start over. It's like enough. And so then I didn't get a tree because of my cat. I didn't want my cat attacking the tree. And then I realized I was overcome with, allergies. I was allergic to my cat. And so I had to say a loving goodbye to my cat. It was pretty messy. I took him back to the ASPCA where I got him from, which was a very reputable place here in Newark. I mean, they're really wonderful. They're loving. They were so happy when I adopted him a few years ago, because the fact that he had been left behind, the rest of his siblings were gone. And I know when I first got him, I first saw him, somebody pointed him out to me. You should have him. And he took his paw and went through the cage like this, like, come here. When you have animal friends that are supposed to be in your life, are magical helpers, then they come to you, that they will make themselves known. So right from the beginning, we had that kind of a relationship. But then I realized earlier this year, I realized I was having some issues breathing. And so unfortunately I had to take him back. They said that no problem, we'll take him back. They're very, very loving there. And you have to fill out this form to say what's good, about the personality of the pet that you're bringing in. Okay. I'm there crying. He was such a good cat. He was very loving. Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. They had to take him away quickly so I wouldn't see him, but when I was giving him up, it was, oh God, it was hard. I cried and cried and cried. But I have to say, I had to add a certain level of my life restored as far as peace was concerned, because now I'm starting to travel and venturing out more. And who would take care of my cat? But the main thing was allergies, so So now I have to get another tree. Now I don't have to worry about a cat trying to or anything trying to knock down a tree. So this is what I also have things that I do in honor of Het Heru and also for Knit because this is her season as well. And this is also in honor of my mother. Now, when my mother moved into my grandparents' house after they passed away, a beautiful home that was in Roselle, beautiful brick, beautiful God, and it was fireplace was beautiful. My grandfather put the fireplace in specifically because my grandmother wanted it. Beautiful dining room, giant back lawn. It was just beautiful, but it's gone now. However, when my mother moved in, she started the tradition that she always wanted to do of the luminarias. It didn't look like this. It was a brown paper bag, and it had sand in it. And then you would stick a candle in it and light it. The sand was there to hold the bag down and also to hold the candle in place. I remember buying some from the Dollar Tree where things are no longer $1. They're $1.25. But still, that's a bargain. I guess they can't call it the $1.25 tree. And it's branded now as Dollar Tree. So anyway, they had these beautiful red ones that had all of these cutouts on it. Like, the luminarias, you can, if you look it up, L-U, let me put it down. Here's how it's spelled. Lumanaries. Nope. A-S. That's not right. Let me try that again. Don't you just love having a computer in your hand? Luminaria. Yes, luminaria candles. So if you open another window, and in fact, you know what? Let me just do a quick download so you can see. Let me spell that right too. Take that out. Luminarias. Let me see if I can find a picture for you. I'm sure I can. Luminarias. I'm so sure you've seen these. Yes, they're absolutely beautiful. They'll line a, let's take this one. This is pretty. Let's see. Yeah. So my mother would have them, well, she would have us do it. My mother never got out there to do it. I guess that's one of those things was like, that's what you have kids for, no matter what age, either that or she would have her workers, because my mother was basically kind of like Queen of the May. she would have the people who would come and clean her house and help her with her catering business and her silk floral design business do them. But a lot of times I ended up with the task or my sister. And this is when we were adults. Yes. So I'm sure once I show you, let me just upload. Wow, I have so many images on here. I need to get rid of some in order to upload. Let's do that. Let's delete that. And let's delete that. So, wonders of modern technology. I love it. So there you see. The idea is that you have them separated by a few inches, and they line walkways, curb. You have them along the edge of the property at the curb. So we had this long winding one. I'm so sorry I never took a picture of that. I do have pictures of what the outside of the house looked like at the holidays, though, because it was a Martha Stewart moment. Or be oh gosh, a boot. What was your neighbor's name? She was called the Black Martha Stewart. I can't believe I don't remember her name right now. And she passed away a few years ago. But anyway, so this was a typical thing, okay? And so the idea was that it was lighting the way for the energy of the Christ child to come to your house. B. Smith, Duau, Duau. Yes. So yeah, my mother, well, in my family, we kind of have this thing where we're like the B. Smiths, and loving things that are beautiful, loving decor, loving traditions, loving to create beautiful things. Like for Thanksgiving, for us, we call it Heru Haud Wau, which is Family Gratitude Day. But for Thanksgiving, went down to be with my family for the first time in a long time. It's COVID and all this. My cousin just always does just splendor, just beautiful things. And even down to having these little treats that look like little turkeys, and there was chocolate and little mini marshmallows at the ends of the drumsticks. It was masterful. It was like they were each like about this big, and the time that she took, the pretzel sticks were in it. It didn't look like some little hokey thing. It looked like a masterpiece. Each little pieces of art, everything. Just love that. And so anyway, so my mother would do these with the luminarias, okay? And like I said, I bought her the red ones that had the nice little cutouts, and on the inside there's foil. And my mother didn't really get with that because the fact that she wanted to do the regular paper bags. Okay. She was like, but you could do it along the porch if you want. She wanted her regular paper bags lining our winding walkway. Okay. So anyway, this is a variation. Go to your dollar store. You go to the dollar store and you'll find these. They're like 3 to a pack. And so I got white because of the purity of white. And also I thought that the candle would illuminate better. And I bought tea lights. So it's a little hard to see, here. But at night, when my light is off, you can't tell it all from this. But it glitters at night. It glows. And I have them in my window. You might see a faint pink light behind the curtains there. I should have just gotten up to this. Should have just opened them. But there I have a bowl of 2 bowls that I got from Amazon 3 years ago of rose quartz stones, the salt rose quartz stones, and it has a light in it. And so I have that in the center, and then I have 2 of the luminarias on one side, 2 on the other side. So I have a total of 8. It's 4 in each window. And so this is a nice, easy way of doing the same thing without worrying about burning your house down, or your property, or the bag. I also wanted to show you. I found this in the thrift store years ago, and it reminded me of Het Heru. Listen, I have this thing about churches. I love churches. I love the architecture of churches. I love the holiness of churches. Even if the people are in there are not necessarily holy, I like the holiness. The idea of the sanctity of churches. Churches make me cry. And so I found this in the thrift store, one of my favorite places to be. And this I need to put a new light in here. Back here, I was able to fit a tea candle and, light it. And I put this unk on here. So this reminds me of Het Heru. Of course, it has the trees on the outside. And red is one of her colors. Her other colors are turquoise and green. But yeah, this is my Iglesia Het Heru, my Het Heru church. But her house is, her name is the house or mansion, and the House of Light. What else is a church supposed to be but a house of light? So this is part of my holiday tradition every year. And I have a bunch of other things, but I decided, like I said, I'm going to do some new things as well. And I did a poll on YouTube to ask people what they would like to see, what short videos they would like to see me produce. And so the options that I gave were, am I doing DIY holiday arts and comedic arts and crafts, comedic chants, comedic stories, and sacred literature. And I don't even remember what the fourth one was, but I didn't get a whole lot of responses. I think I only got 7, but still most of them wanted to have the comedic DIY for creating wonderful things for our sacred holidays. So, okay, that's what we're gonna do. All right, and then lastly, I want to show you, I found these in the thrift store. These are perfect because these are for Sebek, who I talked about last week. Sebek. Some of you, I'm very sorry that you have been informed that Sebek is Enpu. Enpu is not Sebek. Sebek is not a dog-headed guardian. No, that's Enpu, who the Greeks called Anubis. There's also his version that's called Epwat, opener of ways. Sebek is a crocodile. It's a crocodile. And so I found these 2 here. I said perfect because with one, I have the tea candle in it. This is an electric tea candle, of course. Time to put another battery in. And then I have water in this. This is a shot glass from my grandparents' bar and restaurant that they used to have. And so I've got a bunch of them amongst my cousins and we divided them up. There were a lot. So it's a nice memento, but it's also nice for me to use from a pure standpoint for sacred reasons. Sebek's Day is December 26th. That's the honoring of the birth of Sebek and Dudu, who are the sons of Nit. And Nit and her lights are celebrated during this season as well. All right. Let's open up in prayer. Well, we've already opened up. And get some meditation music going here. I'm hoping everybody's having a wonderful Saturday. I'm hoping that you're going to have a peaceful day and take advantage of this energy of light that's on the planet, because there are so many seasons, traditions of light that are celebrated right now. Yesterday I was going to Whole Foods. Well, no, in truth, I was originally going to ShopRite. That was my goal. And that's in another section of town. So I get myself all bundled up. Although then I found that it wasn't that cold outside. It was like the perfect weather. It was the perfect wintry, but not too cold kind of weather. And I come upon this holiday festival right in my neighborhood. And they were getting ready to do a tree lighting. I said, wow, this is so amazing. And they had so many wonderful things for the families. They had bumper cars, and they had an inflatable slide. Kids can climb up and then slide down. They had a little train that they were on, that they could get on. There were vendors. There was a great DJ, and then after the tree was lit, and it was all lights, it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. They had Raheem Devan. He was the special guest, and he did a free concert for everybody. It was fabulous. I mean, the spirit of joy. I have a video on my IG account on La Serena Imaku, where I just whipped out my camera and just filmed the concert. We had a ball, and so you'd have to be a Grinch. Well, no, the Grinch changed. You have to be pretty much a curmudgeon if you don't have appreciation for the joy that the season brings. And we need to remember to love that, especially because we have so much pain right now in the world. I forgot I set meditation music on my. Today I was like, all right, I'm gonna have all my tech together. There we go. And then here's full disclosure. I was all ready. And then I said, it's first Sunday. Oh my goodness. I had to hurry up. It was like quarter after 10, and I was ready. The only thing I had to do was just put my clothes on, and I realized I had to change my outfit. I was going to wear this beautiful outfit with browns and golds and earth tones for Heteru, but it's first Sunday, so I said I have to put my white on, and I had to get my stuff together for our Huit Karest, our communion. So for those of you who have not joined us for communion and would like to partake in it in a little bit, you would need to get just a little piece of bread. If you don't have bread, you have some cornbread. If you have a cracker, that's fine. All right. And if you have red juice in the house. Now, that can be red tea, red juice. I'm not going to judge you what it may be. This happens to be a brew that I made with fruit juices and holiday seasons with pumpkin spice, believe it or not, cloves, star anise, and what else did I add to this? But I brewed it on the stove, cinnamon, of course, and then let it cool and put it in a big jug that I keep in my fridge. And so this is what I'm using. That's a Heteru brew for sure. If not, listen, if you have a red glass, grab it, or just a glass of water. And you'll need a glass of water in a little bit anyway. So, because we always do our water prayer. How is the music level? Everybody hear it? Can you hear it? I found a meditation called Tree of Life. It plays for 11 hours. Those are perfect for when you're sleeping. Okay. We're going to open the way with our water prayer. I keep moving my bookmarks. Here it is. Let us surround ourselves in a perfect orb of light. Calling in divine protection from the Most High. Nebitshur, Nechir, Nechiru. Tujait Ja Kebre. inviting in loving, protective, high vibration energy and intention. Welcoming in high vibratory thoughts and purity Anukardi, I am safe. Anuk Merit, I am beloved. In, in, in. Yun Cherechenu Tepi Yawi Yaku. Duau im Irit Nebechenu. Setini en Echenu. Show yourselves, ancient ancestors of light. Many thanks for all you have done. I pour libation to you. Let's take a moment and focus on our ancestors. The Iaku are those of light who walk closest to the Creator. The Shepsu are those of light who are the ones who are able to still walk close with us and guide us. Duau, Duau. Take a moment and meditate on your family, those who have gone on before, upon whose shoulders you stand. Duau. Semnu, help us. Yunwatnu, open our roads. Daer iset cher bak sekauches. Restore the ancient memory of self. And you may repeat this after me. Anuk tepi yawi yaku enanu, which means I am a returned ancestor of light. Imem yaku shespet ni I eshem ni em yama. Strengthen ancestors, my roots and branches in the tree of life. Yuncherech seshat, yama desher ank, yuni yadechpet. Show yourself, seshat, sacred tree of life. Open your heavenly mist to me. Yunherek akeru. Yuni besu emta. Show yourself akeru. Open the doors of earth to me. Yun charech beset. Yun besuech bekat. Show yourself beset. Open your doors of morning light. Yun harek besu. Bakni besu em besu bekat. Show yourself besu. Protect me in the doors of morning light. Yun charech wunut. Wuni waduech. Wunut emta. Show yourself wunut. Open your time portals of potential to me. Yun harek epwat. Wep wadu. Show yourself epwat. Open the roads. Yun harek inpu. Hekni em wadu. Show yourself inpu. Guide me through the roads. Heki heket eni. Wuhe hatni. Anuk wuhem unk. Fight for me, Heket. Liberate my mind. I am reborn. Anuk wajet. Eni wajet waj nefer. I am the healer who bends energy. Bring me wajet, good health and abundance. Yun harek jahuti. Ekni rekek em hetep. Nejni seshmiher. Show yourself Jehuti. I'm sorry. I enter your lake in peace. Advocate for me, peacemaker. Shedini, yun shetaut em yu. Deliver me. Open your mysteries within me. Anechni nechemetewit. Nehemni. Advocate, avenge, and protect me, nechemetewit. Save and deliver me. Nechtitni. Nechemitni neferet. Nech reni. My protectress defender, my beautiful savior and redeemer. Protect my name. Wuchem. Nech, which means repeat. Nech titni, nechemitni neferet. Nech reni, my protectress defender, my beautiful savior redeemer. Protect my name. Wuchem, we repeat 3 times. Nech titni, nechemitni neferet. Nech reni, my protectress defender, my beautiful savior redeemer. Protect my name. Wuserit, and this is for if you are in my 8. This, let me just say that, is about protecting your name. This applies to you if you're doing your best to live in my 8. If you are living a life that is despicable, wretched, and that is just downright wrong, then what you want is to be able to live according to your purpose. All right? Because if you are not living according to your purpose, then it should not be about protecting your name if you are not in my 8. Okay? We'll make that clear. And for those who have been slandered, who have been wrongly accused of things, whose names have been dragged through the mud, people who have been out to get you and you didn't deserve it, this is asking for the protection of your name as well, so that people are able to see the truth and understand who you are in truth, and to be able to reflect on those, to shine the light of truth on those who are lying against you, so that people are able to make a determination about the truth of your character. Okay? Just want to make that clear. This is not about trying to hide your junk behind some light. Okay? Doesn't work. I mean, you may think it will work for a while, but the truth will prevail. Wusarit, herit em hemut hejanu, sejem nechemitni, powerful and wealthy Nechurt, chieftainess of the oppressed and oppressed women, hear my cry. Shetani shed em sheshniek, shedi ben em merkabudadek. Cover me with your shield shade. Savior, come quickly with your chariot. Wurekni shedu, work for me, heavenly protectors. Mut neferet hatmeit, merien mesu nebu. Good mother of fishes, abundant and abundant, full heart, lover of mankind. Erdani menet mehit, dini ech ibi, anuk mek em ech. Give me abundant daily provisions. I give you my heart. I am crowned by you. Meni nehat, meni hati nechem, nefret meni nefret, keni. Grant me mercy. Grant me a sweet disposition. Refine me. Meruin, abdu I intu pu inwech, shespi. Lover of red cloth, the holy electrical abdu and entu fish are your conveyors. I receive. Daneb anjuti pe zayuni, anuk and tin and sep. The Lord Anjeti is my shepherd. I am never in need. Jebek bani, you restore my soul. Nekoni emhekek, I nekakek. Comfort me through your shepherd's crook and flail. Hekni em ma'ed zayu nefer, guide me to truth, harmony, justice, order, reciprocity, and balance, good shepherd. Yei wasir, ertep isetek yamet. I come wasir before your throne of grace. Semi meni wunefer, uja orek I nechat. Help me cultivate wunefer, health, wealth, and compassion. Anuk way and way, Anuk neches. I am one from be one. I am resurrected. Yei Iset Eretep Iset Yamet. I come Iset before your throne of grace. Webi Iset Em Remitech. Eri Enech Katni. Eri Enech Hauni. Cleanse me with your tears, Iset. Heal my heart. Heal my family. Semni Nebethet Eri Maet. Help me, Nebethet, to do what's right. Dinisha Esha Em Neb Nebet. I give respect to your cup of mastery. Dinisha Esha Em Katni Ibni Ibani. I give respect to my body, mind, and soul. Keni Yehuches. I have self-control. Setekani Setesh Em Sedechenuyek. Dini Esha Eksha Esha. Protect and cover me, Setesh, from your storms. I give you respect. Zima Ketani Zemanen. Zima Ketani Ketni. I'm sorry. Zema Katni Zemau Katni Sema. This is for the cleansing season. And when you are dealing with Satesh, in dealing with Satesh and calmness, to bring yourself to a place of calmness, then you go through a period of not eating flesh, having a plant-based diet, where your body is clear. Semai nu herek hepi. Inanu tep wuhem en samai tawi isema. Samai nu, as your aspect hepi, bring us the new age of synthesis and transparency. Shamesh ni kairek. I serve to elevate mankind. Anuk wuhem ank im merwek. Meni ikani im merwek. I am reborn through your waters. Let me dance in your waters. Web anket merwech. Yun yarwech im in. Anket, purify your waters. Open your reed and your celestial city for me. Anuk ek. Yeyi aku. Anuk we em echanu. I am the reed of balanced correctness. Come, beings of light, I am one with you. Anuk tepui yawi iaku inanu. I am a returned ancestor of the light gods and goddesses. Here, Yahweh, in iyun wehini. Therefore, Yahweh, God of gifts, bring and open my gifts. Erdani kenum dudukapesh. Give me kenum, gifted hands. Zatni zatit. Rudni em zunech. Zatit, shoot forth your fresh waters upon me. I succeed with your arrow. Debani nit em heb desherech. Erdani zemayut zep. Nit, restore me in your red tent. Bring me timely connections. Seserni sebek dudu. Protect me, sebek and dudu. Wurek ni taort yatni her ipet. Protect me, taort. Nurse and embrace me as ipet. Tefeni tefnut em tefwech. Tefeni etch. Tefnut, propel me forward with your moisture. Tefnut, I appreciate and praise you. Eri mekort ankimek. Mekort, make my life full and well-rounded. Erdani nun hu. Nun, bring me limitless potential. Keper naunet. Anki em tepi nefer. Nepi nutech. Ishet em yu. Nunet, shape my life in the best possible success, goodness, and beauty. Pour your wealthy waters upon me. Erdani heteru, mer kai em heruech, mer ni ches. Heteru, bring me higher love through all of your aspects. I love myself. Wuchem. Erdani heteru, mer kai em heruech. Merni ches. Heteru, bring me higher love through all of your aspects. I love myself. Wuchem. Erdani heteru, mer kayi en heruech. Merni ches. Heteru, bring me higher love through all of your aspects. I love myself. Sekni sarkit sarkoech. Imakni unit I Quebec. Shaesha ches. I gather strength sarkit through your snow. I honor distance and coolness. I respect myself. Erdani kebut Quebec. Segenu shespetni anuk geru. Bring me coolness, kebut. Anoint my sacred white garb. I am self-mastered. Pekarni pekit, anuk pek. Encircle me, pekit. I am upright, sincere, prudent. Duau nechurt necheru. Necher necheru. Many thanks, limitless creatrix, limitless creator. Necherni necher netri. Protect me, divine life force. Yat yu nebu. Nebu kai nechurhek. Anuk heru nebu. I embrace you, all ascended masters, eternal life force, all aspects of life. Yatni, Anuktepi Iawi Iaku Inanu. Embrace me. I am a returned ancestor of light. Erdani Embu Kayi. Take me to a higher place. Erdanu Embu Kayi. Take us to a higher place. Amen. Amen. Give thanks. Let's take a few moments to let all of that settle in. Each prayer to each of the Necheru is a lesson in itself as to what they do for us and what they bring, and also the origins of terms like born again, savior, everything that you heard here, the good shepherd. These all go all the way back to ancient Nile Valley or Happy Valley civilization. They predated the Bible. Know your history. Know your culture. Let's take a nice deep breath in. Sarek. Nifa. Sarek. Nifa. Last time. Sarek. Nifa. Relax your breathing. Give thanks. Okay, I'm just going to, I usually have it on Do Not Disturb, but I have to say I'm going to keep it because just in case the phone rings, just like that. You can't write this stuff. I'm gonna just send people the service. So don't call me, okay? I'm expecting one important phone call. Not saying that wasn't important, but that just the timing was just not good. So, all right, and hopefully you have your glass of water ready for our water prayer. Looking for myself here on. Let me just go directly to my channel. Do it that way. Usually it comes right up in the feed. Here we are. Let me share this. Hoping everybody is feeling fine. And let me just do a few more shares while I'm here. if you don't mind. And you all please remember to hit like, share. Those of you who are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. And that is YouTube forward slash, or youtube.com/ at Imaku. Okay. IMAKHU. And let's just bring this to the feed. Great. Okay. And here, and great. All right. Give thanks. So glad that you're here, Brother Kevin. Thank you. And a new Kemkus. Remember you, yes. The uniqueness of your name. Give thanks. Yes, and hopefully later I'll see you on the meeting, Kevin. Okay. Oh. All right. How many of you start your mornings with yoga? I do. And it's good to be able to stretch in the morning and also in the evening if you are able to. It's a form of prayer. Ika, yuke, yuka. These are all words that are appropriate and that I found in my research pertain to the ancient practice of what we now know as yoga. Who is the one? Okay, the one who's saying the one who just said I do. It says Facebook user, so I don't know. Tell me your name. That's the thing about when I do for my group. I don't know why it doesn't identify the people. You know, I have a Facebook Queen Mother Shenu Living group, so you can search for that. It's going to be more active. And then also, what else? I'm on IG as La Serena. Imaku, La Serena, Imaku. And then you can, of course, join my Facebook Queen Mother page. Oh, okay. Abut, Duau. So, yes, I was saying about Facebook. That's facebook.com/Imaku. And I'm working on building up the Shenu Kemetic Water Institute page. You know, it's been inactive for a while, and so you can look that up as well on Facebook. Okay. Please grab your glass of water. So we can do divine invocations that will match with the water in our body and transmute whatever we invoke into our water. It'll transmute to what we've invoked. We are mostly comprised of water, and how we program it is truly a reflection on our lives. If you are constantly watching violence, then there's a good chance that you will either attract it or have a tolerance level for violence that's much too high. If you watch a lot of negative programming, then that can have an effect on you as well. You want to keep no. Listen, I'm not saying not to hide to hide from it. Let me just take a moment for that, because I don't believe in hiding from the reality of life. Everything is not all tra-la, roses, hearts, flowers, all that. What we want is to have the strength, the ability, and the courage to deal with life on the real. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's not so great. If we have the skills for how to deal with things, then that's what really gives us the success in life, not hiding from it. A lot of New Age ideology that came to the fore well, it had a resurgence, I would say, in like the 70s. It actually started around the time that they raided the tombs in the late 1700s into the 1800s, and started misinterpreting ancient Kemetic culture, philosophy, writings, beliefs. And so this launched the Madame Blavatskys and all that went along with that. And then, we had the prophets that came along, um, Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet, all these different people who were using ancient Kemetic philosophies according to their interpretations. And then some people spun off on that and going into also the Hindu beliefs. And actually, it said that the Kemites also traveled, and other people from the motherland traveled into India and had a great impact on the beliefs there. And also recreated a lot of the beliefs there, as within other Asian countries as well. So anyway, the fact is, though, that all these places that were considered highly mystical were being reinterpreted. And one aspect of that, because the fact that there is a lot of talk about being positive and being around the right people and high vibration in Kemetic tradition, it also talks about the reality of life. And sometimes you deal with people who are just not cool. It gives you advice for how to deal with them. Sometimes it means stay away. Other times it's like, okay, if you're in this setting, then you want to make sure that you act in this particular way. The book of, hold on, to give you an example. In this is it's one of my favorite books too, and the name cannot come to mind for some reason. Come on. Kagemni. Yes. In the book of Kagemni, it goes into detail. And also Ptahhotep gives you instruction for how to be around different kinds of people. All right. So there's a difference. There's a balance you have to have between when to cut people off, when to try to avoid people, not because you're hiding from them, but just because of the fact that they're just not good to be around. And then also when you're just in situations and you have to be on your best behavior and mindful of your surroundings, and not to come off with any pomposity, but to still have a level of respect and humility for where you are, instead of either rejecting, leaving, or shunning. There's a sermon that I did, was it like 2 years ago, that was called, no, actually, it was in 2020. I did this sermon called Don't Leave the Room. And it was based on the teachings of Kagemni and one of the other sacred books, about how, all right, you may be in circumstances that are uncomfortable to you. You may have been invited to come into places with people who are not the same ilk, but do have a certain level of power and influence that can help you. I'm not talking about like the situation with the brother who said he's going to go to church so he can get more clients. But I mean, where there may be something that's in alignment with what your next step up will be. And so the idea is that you understand what's going on around you. You might have people who are there eating like a glutton. That doesn't mean that you're to do the same thing. But that doesn't mean that you point out that they are as well. They may be sitting there cursing like a sailor. That doesn't mean that you engage in that as well. That means, though, that you are just, you refrain from it, and that you are humble. But when the doors open to you, and if you recognize it's your opportunity, Anuk Seped, if it's your opportunity, then yes, you go through it. But you won't get there unless you go through it. Okay? there are lessons to be learned even in those circumstances, and knowing how to deal with all kinds of people in different situations, it's a benefit to you. All right. There are those, this is what I'm getting at. There are those who think that the way to deal with life is to not deal with it, to hide. I'm never going to watch the news because I don't want to know what's going on in the world, and I am only going to put on la-di-da programming. Okay, maybe you're going through something. A lot of us go through these periods of time where we need to readjust, and we may need to do that. Just kind of shut things off, close things out, so that way we can push our own reset button and get into alignment, and then re-engage. But to live in a world where you don't want to know what's going on and you stay in a bubble, that causes xenophobia, because then you only want to be around people who, we talked about last week about the whole thing with the egregore, and those who are in your egregore, your orb, as Hatshepsut referred to it, and as I shared last week. And that's cool if you're energetically, you're trying to deal with high vibratory people and so forth. But there are times where you'll deal with people who they're there to teach you something, or to open the door for you for something. Okay, and you have to be aware of that. So hiding from life is not a solution. I just wanted to say that. Just be very clear on that. Very clear. Okay. Okay. Nuk wenebu per emnu, muti punut. I am the sacred plant that grows from Nu. My mother is Nut. Webni, cleanse me. Wuja'u, into the glass. Webni, cleanse me. Wujani, heal me. Hekni, guide me. Jedni, speak to me. Anuk Sejamen, I am listening. Water has messages for you because water carries memory, Duau, many thanks. Give thanks and praise. I'm still drinking my clove water. You add some cloves to the water, and it brings all kinds of health benefits. I've talked about that like a couple of years ago. I'll bring that back up. I'll teach it again next week. I'll share more specifically about that. Or you can Google it. All right. And we'll do the 42, and then we will go into the Tree of Life. Yunharech ma'et, dua ma'et. Spernu ma'et hekechem herupen. Show yourself ma'et. Many thanks to you. Bring us your guidance on this day. I will not do wrong. I will not steal. I will not immerse myself in depression. I will not violate another being physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. I will not hoard, disrespect, abuse, or misuse the land, nor deprive my loved ones and community of a rightful inheritance. I will not waste precious food. I will not waste precious water. I will not jealously desire to obtain that which is not mine. I will not eavesdrop or pry into matters outside the dictate of nature. I will not defile or debase my purity. I will not abuse my sexuality. I will not engage in infidelity with another man or woman's mate. I will not engage in sexual fantasies or sexual acts with a child. I will not cause needless terror. I will not be arrogant and egoistic. I will not act with selfish, destructive aggression. I will not cultivate a quarrelsome nature. I will not take a life outside of my eight, nor disrespect the life force. I will not cause the shedding of tears. I will not sow seeds of regret. I will not mistreat children and will give proper guidance and protection. I will not mistreat animals and will give proper respect. I will not be vengeful and angry except for a just cause within my 8. I will not be easily incited to action or contention. I will not uphold an untruth on or against someone else's behalf. I will not lie. I will not raise my voice unnecessarily. I will not speak maliciously against another being. I will not exaggerate. I will not talk too much. I will not act with sneaky manipulation. I will not be impatient or judge in haste. I will not entertain impure thoughts. I will not wish evil upon another being, but will not stand in the way of karmic law, and will invoke my 8. I will not perform negative energy work, but will rightfully protect and defend myself in my 8. I will not turn away from words of truth. I will not desecrate holy places. I will not desecrate holy traditions. I will not steal from or neglect giving to the temple offerings. I will not rob from the deceased. I will not betray my venerated ancestors. I will not blaspheme the Most High Nichu. Give thanks and praise. Dwama 8 Imedu Hekech. Imedu Hek Dwa. I was going to read. I had been reading the 10 virtues of my 8, but these are really more geared toward people who are studying under someone, and not everyone is. And so I'm going to leave that out from now on. Okay, I understand that for those who are here for service, that you may be at another temple, or you may not be at a temple. This may be your church. I don't know, but whatever the case, this has more to do with having faith in those who are guiding you, and making sure that you also have faith in your higher power, as far as the 10 virtues are. Okay. Divine Necharu, Divine Iaku Ishapsu, we thank you so much for this day and ask for you to bring wisdom and insight into this message. Erdani Karep, bring me clarity and allow me to be a divine vessel unto your use. Duao. All right. How's everybody before we go into the message? How is everyone? Everyone good? All right, I'm going to share this image. And I want you to take a good look at it. It has various aspects of what we know in Kemetic culture to be the tree of life. The various aspects of the tree of life include Heteru incorporated into a tree and giving nourishment and libation or cleansing to the petitioner. You also see Heteru as the, let me see if I can do this. Let me just continue what I was saying. You see also where it is a tree itself that has a breast that's drawn onto it that is nourishing someone. That's at the bottom here. Take a look. And then we also see the individual who is kneeling, and many people associate the pose with Muslim culture, but it came out of Kemetic culture first. And he is kneeling at a date palm tree. And then we also see Het-Heru depicted as the sacred cow, and where she is white, and then she has the horns and the solar disk or the sun on her head. That is the image that is on the far left. One more thing I want to point out. In the image that's on the far right at the bottom, you see Het-Heru, who is pouring libation, and the receiver is getting it, but also the image of the soul, and that is a person who has a bird body and a human head. That is the Ba. I made a mistake in the description about the sacred cow. It is not depicted with the solar disk. The solar disk is above it. Okay, so Het-Heru, who is light, who is considered a sky Nechurt, or goddess. The word for goddess, for lack of a better term, is Nechurt, and who is also associated with water. In the story of Sekhmet, we find that first Sekhmet was Het-Heru. She asked the governing council of Paut Neteru, of the company of guardians, if she would be able to avenge her father, because her father Re was being greatly disrespected. And Sekhmet represents righteousness, pure righteousness. So, yes, the council said yes. And as her aspect of Sekhmet, she went and cleaned house. Basically, to understand the real story, because people say that she just started devouring people who were not righteous, and then she became so lustful of the blood she was tasting that she began killing indiscriminately. And that's not quite true. That's more of the patriarchal version of the story and understanding of the story. Just to give you the short of it, it was more of her going around and absorbing all of the toxicity from people. Okay, I've covered this many times. In fact, my story of Sekhmet and the true resurrection, the true resurrection of Sekhmet, is out there on. It's on YouTube. Somebody else also took it and put her name on it with my face and my voice. I had to call her on it, and just as a funny thing. I mean, it wasn't so funny, but really, her thing was, well, you should just be grateful I'm giving you exposure. I'm like, you're not giving me exposure. You have my story, my face, my audio, and your name, and people think it's you. And it had Googob's thousands and thousands of hits. I'm like, at least say it's me. At least guide people back to my website. Let them know where they can buy the story originally, where it's recorded. But no, just like, I'm not helping you. See, that's why I don't deal with y'all elders. Y'all don't appreciate anything. I'm not helping any more of you. How are you helping me? Stealing from me is not helping me. Anyway, so talking about righteousness, right? So anyway, when Sekhmet got to the point where she was full of all this toxicity, she had to have the help of the priests and priestesses of Re, to bring her back to herself. And so she was given vats of, some say beer, 7,000 vats of beer, some say red wine, red beer or red wine, but whatever the case, it brought her back to her original state of being Het Heru. And see, the rain started to fall also. So she's associated with water. And so you have two sides of the same coin when you're talking about Sekhmet, when you're talking about Het Heru. Okay. Now, trees in culture represent the presence of water. Het Heru at one point was known as the Great Forest. Now, many of you probably are aware of the fact that Kemet was not always desert region. It once was lush and verdant, and there was an abundance of trees. So the topography changed, and the greenness started to disappear. And also, you had the change of the water path of the Hapi, or the Nile. And then also sometimes there would be the rising, would be enough water, and then other times it would fall. So this affected the terrain a great deal. So it ended up becoming the Kemet that we know today, the Egypt that we know today, where it was just a lot of all this sand. So when a tree was sighted anywhere, that meant there had to be some water. Good sign. When there was vegetation in abundance, that was considered a blessing because it meant that there was a lot of water nearby. Pekarit pu Ankh, which I have my book here as a chant, and I wrote, Pekarit pu Ankh, the circle is life. Anuk em Shenur, I am of the great circle. Way em way, I am one from the one. Anech Anki Mer Ineferet, my life manifests love and success. Nemni em Ma'et, I float in harmony and balance. Pekarit pu Ankh, the circle is life. Well, in Kemet, they considered the sacred pool the circle. When you were able to contain water in any form, it was a blessing. When people looked at the Hapi, they considered the riverbanks the sacred container of the Hapi. And that is the deeper mystery of the understanding of Hapi to this day. Het Heru, as one of the most ancient Netrut that came out of Kemetic culture, as I said, comes in many guises, but she was recognized for association with nourishing the sacred cow, which nourishes, but the sacred cow also is associated with the Milky Way. Now, who else is associated with the Milky Way? Nut. Nut was also considered the tree of life, along with Nit and Seshat, who has the plant on her head. There's speculation as to what it is. A lot of us believe that it's the cannabis leaf, but there's also the speculation that it is the papyrus plant. That makes sense too. But it is a form of vegetation for sure. And so because of that and all of her mysteries, she's associated with the tree of life. And a very, very ancient form of a Set whose name was Useaset. They all are associated with the tree of life. So when people saw trees, they were considered holy, and they were considered the ancient goddess, the divine feminine energy of the Most High, the original creatrix. And going back to the parthenogenic aspect of science and lore. When people went to trees, they were looking for comfort. They were looking for shade. They were looking for whatever the tree brought, if it was fruit, and the the term najem that deals with sweetness, the sweetness that goes along with the um, date plant, the date fruit. And I've talked in the past about how date trees, they were especially prized in ancient Kemet. And trees in general, because they did so many things besides providing shade, they also, the use of their bark was medicinal, the various leaves depending on the trees. Okay. That's another whole extensive topic. But we know today that on a hot day, we'd rather be walking down a street that is tree lined as opposed to one that is just pure concrete or just a dirt road. Why? Because you'll suffer. There's no relief. All right. So when we look further at what the tree of life really means and why the Kemites celebrated it, it also represented the roots and branches of family ancestry, of living family, of lineage, and also of the sacredness of family and ancestors. We have the tree that goes into the ground that are the deep roots. And we associate that with Rud, the root erit, or the root chakra. And what is the root? What does the root represent? It is family. It is stability. It is the core beliefs that you accrue from those who are in your world. The basic things of life: house, clothing, food, all the things that are basic essentials that make you safe. When you have your family, and ideally your family should be one of security. A lot of us don't really get that all the time, not in this day and age, and not for a long time, actually, to be very honest with you. But as values change also, then we find that what the security of family means has changed, or it just is not even there. So we as adults work, hopefully, to create new security for ourselves or find new security. But we know that it is a basic thing to want to have a secure family. So even if you come out of a family that wasn't secure and you start your own, you can sometimes even overcompensate in making sure that things are real cool with your kids. You were hungry, so you make sure there's an abundance of food for your children. You didn't have a lot of money, so you make sure that you've got that paper, okay? So that way they will not have to ever face the sometimes torment of not having. If you continue in the same practices that you grew up in and have another generation that is not secure, that is only weakening your family tree. Why? Because you want your family tree to be not only solid with strong roots, you want it to be healthy. I don't know if you've ever seen a sick tree. Trees get sick, and they generally have to be cut down because they can spread disease, or because they're so diseased that the tree itself is suffering. So there are those who have the jobs in the cities of going around and cutting the limbs off of sick limbs off of trees, or just cutting down a tree in general. People will go out and prune their trees to make sure that the sick limb does not affect the rest of the tree or the other trees in the yard. You want your family to be healthy, and you want to make sure that you are setting a precedent for future generations. Even if you don't have children, there are other people in the family who look at you. All of us have our labels in our families, do we not? Think about it. You have your label. You have your label for your aunt, your grandparent, or your cousin, so-and-so. Usually something comes to mind, whether it's positive, negative, or or maybe you don't even think about the person, which is not really a good thing, because in African culture, the goal is to make sure that you're remembered and remembered well. If you're not thought of, that's a problem. But that also means that you're not really, it could be that you're not checking in on this person, or it could mean that you're so self-absorbed that you don't care, or it could mean that this person's so despicable that you don't want to have anything to do with them. Okay, so again, look at how the tree is reflected. The deep roots in the tree. When the roots are shallow, the tree will fall over. When you have a good solid foundation, the tree grow up hopefully nice and sturdy. Sometimes you have trees that'll end up growing this way. A house I lived in last year had this tree I was watching that was growing really great. And then it reflected the energy of the neighborhood when things started getting kind of weird. Because all of a sudden this tree starts growing like this. I mean, and I didn't even notice it until one day I went out in the yard to go actually to plant a mini tree out there. And I see this tree is all wonky. And I couldn't understand how it was still alive, especially because a major part of what was split too. And you could see one part was dying, the other one was just hanging on. But it definitely reflected the neighborhood and what was going on in the house all the time. But anyway, so because I had neighbors that lived upstairs from me too. We had some interesting things that happened where I lived. So where you live, let me ask you this. Do you have a lot of trees around you? It's considered a blessing if you have a lot of trees. If you live in a community where people are not anxious to cut down trees, simply because the fact that, it's in the way of this, and it could be something that's just like meaningless, or that you can work around it where you have trees, of course, that grow into wires, but people who are conscientious will usually cut the limbs around it and try to preserve the tree. I mean, talk to me. Are you surrounded by trees? Do you have access to trees? And if so, what is your conscientiousness and your conscientiousness regarding the trees around you? Do you know the variety of trees around you? Do you know what they give? This is no different than when I give the assignment for my students to go and identify all of the naturally occurring plants in their neighborhood, the ones that are called weeds. All plants have a purpose. And 9 times out of 10, you'll find that the plants that are naturally occurring are healing plants that can actually heal the most commonly reoccurring illnesses that exist in the neighborhood. Truth. So in finding out the trees that exist around you, whether they were put there intentionally, maybe they're in a park, I don't know. Maybe somebody just, made it their mission to just put some trees down in this neighborhood where they needed them. Still, they will serve a function. The high creative force has a way of making sure, again, that what we need is placed toward them. Yes, and I hug them. Yes, I hug trees as well, because they give off a vibration. This time of year, many people are focused on pine trees. Why? Because they make really wonderful trees to bring indoors. I kind of have a problem with growing a tree just to cut it down for one time a year to decorate it. We'll get to the decorating. I love it when I see living trees and then people go and replant them. But anyway, if you are feeling that you need some energy, go to an evergreen tree and just gently pull the needles. Don't pull them off, just hold them and just pull it. And you'll feel yourself re-energized. Hug the tree as well. You'll feel it re-energized. You will see children will have a natural inclination to go and touch. And I believe it's because they innately know that this tree is able to heal me. It's not just from the way that it feels, Right, like at Rockefeller Center, people, they go to Rockefeller Center for the tree lighting. But this tree that is grown for all these years now is going to basically be slain just to be put up for a season and then thrown away. I mean, hopefully it gets chopped up and repurposed in some way that's good. But anyway, let me bring this back to ancient Kemet and their way of honoring trees and decorating trees. Now, people would bring decorations to the trees, or they would bring offerings. Most often they would bring offerings. The Hetep tablet, leave the offering there. Or you would leave it, you could put it on a mat, which is biodegradable, and leave your offerings there as a way of saying thank you to the tree. Some would cut a bough from the tree, not too big, but a decent bough where they could bring it inside and put their versions of candles around them in clay pots. And then, put maybe jewels, stones around them, ribbons for sure, as a way of honoring not only the tree, but the lights would honor the coming of the dawn. Winter solstice was a great time for this also, with the coming of, darkness and coming into light. But they didn't take down no doggone tree, especially as rare as they were becoming. Oh dear, let me see. Okay, there we go. So the respect for life. This is my 8, the balance, understanding the balance of life. Hatshepsut, who I talked about last week, had trees brought to Kemet, brought in from Punt, because she recognized we need some trees. So she is recognized for that as well. And isn't it something that it would take a female pharaoh to recognize that the tree of life was sorely missing in Kemet, and to balance out that divine feminine energy, and also the need for the nourishment that comes from trees. She went out of her way to make sure that they were brought in. Yes, and planted. So the 7 Hators, or the 7 Heterus, were also associated with the so-called forest of trees. In fact, I have it noted here. This is an interesting book. Not everything is correct. There's a lot of stuff that's wrong in it, but I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here. The Encyclopedia of Ancient Egypt by Margaret R. Bunsen. It's a good thing to have in your library. If you go to where it says Hathor, which is Hathor, the Greeks called her Hathor. It's Hathor, H-A-T, Hat, H-O-R, Hor, Hathor, Hathor, actually. Hat, which is also Het, which is the mansion or the house, the estate. Hor, which is Heru. Hor is, or Her is face. It's also, Heru is multiple faces, okay? But it's also, it's interpreted many ways. The house of light, which would be a temple. The mansion of light, the mansion of lights, the Eritu, in my house are many mansions. This is what Jesus was referring to. This is a direct reflection of his education in ancient Egypt. By the way, you would find it interesting if you looked on YouTube for videos about Jesus being the one that is called the Egyptian in the Bible. A woman has done extensive study on that, and I think there's a lot of merit to it. So just for your own edification, I would look that up. Okay, so back one page, Hathor. She has a lot written here about her, and I'm not going to go into all of this, but let's see. I was saying about the 7 Hathors, and they represent fate and destiny. It is said that they are present when a child is born, and that they are the ones that help to determine the name based on the fact that they know the destiny of the child, the destiny and also the fate. Your destiny is what you were put here for, and all the gifts and abilities that you were given, the tools that you were given in the people who are your family, your community, all this that's supposed to be predestined for you. That is your destiny. Your fate is what's going to happen because of what you did in your life. So it could be that you had a particular task that you were supposed to do, or you're supposed to live up to this, but you ended up going this way. And as a result, this happened, or this is going to happen to you, unless you are able to pull yourself back on track. But whatever the case, your fate is based on whether you live up to your destiny or even if you fall off the rails. Okay. So they are there. We have the stories with like in Grimm's fairy tales with the little fairy godmothers who were there. Was it the story of Rumpelstiltskin? No. What story was that? It was Sleeping Beauty, I think, where they had the 7 fairy godmothers, and who spoke the what was going to happen. Was that Snow White? One of those stories. Anyhow. So that's where they got the concept from the 7 Hathors, or the 7 Heterus, who are associated with the red string and the tying of the 7 knots. When you take a string and you weave it with 7 knots, then that is supposed to, and you wish upon it, then it manifests what you are praying for. Okay. And so anyway, these 7 Heterus are also associated with the sacred tree, or also the sacred forest. So the best thing to do at this time, to wrap this up, is to first of all recognize the tradition for what it is. Second of all, if you're going to engage in honoring the sacred tree of life by decorating a tree, please be mindful of the tree that you pick. Enough said on that. And if you do get a fake tree, and yeah, I do that. Why? Because I can use it every year. Be mindful in the decorations you put on it. I always put little unks. You can buy unk earrings. You can buy them. You can buy them online. Actually, you can get packages of unk, unk amulets. And the earrings are easiest because it's already got a hook on it. You can place sweet treats under it as a gift, as an offering, and just make it beautiful. Strands of cowrie shells, because cowrie shells were popular back in ancient Kemet, and they were recognized as a fertility symbol. And Heteru is also associated with fertility. But above all, make sure that you have plenty of lights. Put it in a place that is sacred to you. Understand that when you are putting it up, that it is not just some little decoration, that you are actually creating an altar. Okay? Yours stays up year round? Yeah, mine used to also. When I get mine, I'm gonna do that. Why? Because it's an altar, and because it's beautiful, and also reminds you of your own beauty. It reminds you of the beauty of the world, reminds you of the joy of the season, but it also reminds you to honor the sanctity of life, of your family, and of your ancestors, and also with the connection to the Most High. Are there any questions? And if you have people who question you about it, remember what I said in the beginning. Stand strong on what you believe. Do not let anybody try to sway you away from what is meaningful for you. Because I will point out, I don't come trying to force my beliefs on you and sway you into believing what I believe. And, you may not honor what I do, but you don't have to. You're not in my house. You're not in my body. You're not on the same path that I'm on. We all have our roads. And I want to share this prayer with you, this faith prayer. My students learn how to write prayers for themselves in the Kemetic language, which is a very empowering thing to do. You know what you want to say. It also helps to broaden your vocabulary because you do the research in finding exactly the right words. And the Kemetic language is so expansive. There's so many different words to choose from. But see, that's where the skill of writing a really great prayer or petition or homage goes in. And actually, if you're going to do a prayer petitioning, then you should also have a major homage in it. There's a formula to that too. My students learn that. So, and then you learn exactly what words, what rhythm, what, all of that. Okay. Lydia says, I have the ginkgo biloba tree. When I pick the leaves, when they turn yellow, or several benefits, several outside my house. That's beautiful. Yeah. See, again, what tree is out there? Do you know that the sycamore tree, and Sashad is known as the sycamore. The sycamore tree, which looks like camouflage, has a lot of properties, especially in the shedding bark. Look it up. This is the faith prayer. Nektini neket, my faith is strong. Nechet, necheti, sycamore, tree of life, my refuge. Nekuni mutnechurt, mother goddess watches over me. Anuk nekatet, I am a powerful woman. And I wrote a little melody for it too. Nektini neket, neket nekti, nekuni mutnechut, anu neketet. Very simple. Yes. So let's move now into our Huit Kadest. How's everyone? I think I moved my bookmark around too much. Here it is. And for those of you who missed it, you want to have a small piece of bread or cracker. It could be cornbread, whatever's available to you. And then a glass of red juice. And if not, a glass of water will do just fine right now. The Sacred Supper of Huit Kadest, known today as Eucharist, was created in ancient Kemet. The priests and priestesses of Oset honored the resurrection of King Wasir and the resurrection of life. We all face personal levels of resurrection daily. As we learn the lessons of this life, we strive to grow and leave behind the old and unnecessary habits and behaviors and move forward into higher consciousness. The blood that flows through our veins is of our ancestors. Huit represents the DNA, the ancestral blood that reaches back into the beginning of time. And as we're talking about the tree, the peak of the tree reminds us to the connection with our ancient selves and also with the Most High. In African culture, we refer to the river of ancestors. The blood, or senef, of our ancestors flows through each of us, as our blood will flow through future generations. It is an endless stream. As we call on the light and wisdom of our high ancestors, or Yaku, our blood becomes purified. As such, we are mindful of giving respect, sha'esha, to senef, the blood. When we become spiritually awakened, we take our places within the awakened body of consciousness, Christ consciousness, Kerest consciousness. Kerest means the mummified remains or body wrapped in swaddling strips. Death to the old, yet spirit lives on. It has victory over death. We, in our spiritual growth, have victory over death and in life as we put emphasis on spirit and are not stuck in matters of the flesh and mundane. The bread, te, symbolizes the body, or kerest. Please hold up your bread. Repeat after me. Necheru, bless this bread of life. Semek necheru, mishet enkpen. I am the bread of life. Anuk mishet ank. I am the body of awakened consciousness. Anuk kerest. My body is sacred. Kati Jeser. My spirit is of God. Kani en Netcher. Thank you, Netcher. Dwa Netcher. Unem. Eat. Give thanks. Please hold up your cup. Repeat after me. Necheru, bless this blood of life. Semek Necheru, senef ank pen. My blood flows from the river of ancestors. Senefi sef ni im yaku. Webi, purify me. Thank you, Necher. Twa Necher. Baba, drink. And now hold up your cup. This cup is also you. It is a sacred chalice. You, like the cup, are a sacred vessel. Be mindful of what you fill your life with. Your life is sacred. Repeat after me. I am a sacred vessel. Anuk imaku. My life is sacred. Anki Jaser. Amen. Amen. Amenit. That concludes our service today. If you'd like more information, then please reach out. The best way to reach me, very honestly, is to text me. Yes, Cheryl Lee. I gave in the introduction of the Huid Kerest, or the Eucharist, the ancient origins of the Holy Eucharist and communion. And so, yes, it goes back to ancient Kemet. And so, please listen. The best way to get me is to call me directly or text me. Text me first. Actually, I'm one of those people that doesn't answer the phone if I don't recognize the number. I'm sure you'll understand. That's for your own safety and protection, at least for mine. So text me first, okay, at 646-228-1185. Please don't send me an email if you don't have to. because I get so many emails and it's almost like a moot point. Yeah, I'm just like swamped. And so a lot of things get lost, but texts, no, they're immediate and you'll get the most immediate response. Please visit. First, I'm going to give you the temple website, well, the Institute's website, and this is mine. Imaku.info. Those of you who sent love offerings last week, thank you so very much. And my Cash App is Elaine. Is it hyphenated? I don't think so. Artist or Artis, Elaine Artis Lloyd. Here's the website. My website. Cash App. I forgot the dollar sign. And you can Zelle me at my number. But yeah, I'm also on, what is the other Venmo. Yes, I'm on Venmo. And what is my Venmo? I think because I people don't use it too much, at least not with me. Usually it's PayPal. Yes, it is. My Venmo is at Elaine Artis Lloyd. And truly, I'm grateful for those of you who acknowledge the work that I'm putting in. Truly, thank you. Next week, the Oracle for 2024, and also we'll be talking about the correlation between the three wise men and water spiritual culture. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day. If there are no more questions, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Ikanacher imdu wedsen eriet mebu deseret erda shemek duetsen. May it sure be between you and harm in all the infertile or absent or empty places where you must walk. And yes, that's the origin of may the Lord watch between me and thee while we are absent one from another. Amen. Do your research, do your homework. Don't villainize a culture that you don't understand and that has been misinterpreted and that you have not gotten inside of. Learn it first and then make your decision from there. Worst comes to worst, this is our history, this is our culture, and it stands. Whether you're talking about belief, that's another thing, but truth is truth. All right. You all have a really blessed and wonderful day. And Mkuten Mer, Tani, remember, be accountable, and I grant you peace. Chardonnay, peace and freedom.